Imagine your marriage healthy, thriving, and fun again. Welcome to the Coach Martez and Woodrina Show, the ultimate power couple helping you with understanding love, accepting truth, and changing perspective. Certified professional life and marriage coach Martez Layton and licensed therapist Woodrina Layton are here to help you step up your game when it comes to marriage, relationships, and so much more. With 30 years of marriage under their belt and a proven track record of mending broken bonds, you can rely on Coach Martez and Woodrina to empower you and your loved ones to have a strong connection for life. The Coach Martez and Woodrina Show starts now.
Good afternoon. Good
Hello,
afternoon.
everyone.
Hello. Happy New Year again in this new year
Yes,
in 2022. So glad that you are joining us. So glad that you are listening. Again, I'm Coach Martez.
And I'm licensed therapist with Woodrina Layton.
And you're listening to the Coach Martez and Woodrina Layton show here on Transformation Talk Radio,
Yes.
Understanding Love, Accepting Truth, and Changing Your Perspective. Stay with us for the next hour as we discuss 3 vital things that every spouse desires to feel in a relationship. And I'm just hoping in this new year, your spouse is feeling those things, but we're going to talk about that today.
Yeah, because if not,
We're
we're
gonna
gonna
talk
help
about
you
it.
to get on track.
Definitely.
So as we do every week, we're looking forward to having an enjoyable conversation around walking out the journey of love, life, and fulfilling purpose as we share with you practical tips, new insights, and perspectives that will help you to improve your relationships, communicate better, walk in forgiveness, and just simply love one another better.
But before we get started, let's just say a fun fact about ourselves. We sometimes talk about bucket list things we want to do before we transition. What is one of the things on your bucket list, Woodrina, that you would like to do?
Well, one thing that I would like to do is I would like to go to California. I've
Okay.
never been to California.
Yeah, we haven't been to California.
So I would just like to go and just have a West Coast trip where I just spend like 2 weeks just so I can make sure I go to San Francisco and Los Angeles. I just want to go and hit some of the the cities over there that everyone talks about. I even wouldn't mind going to Pasadena because after watching the Rose Bowl and stuff. So I kind of want to go. That's why I want to spend time so I can try to travel. I know it's gonna be, some, a car trip once you get over there. It's like a road trip to the different cities, but that's what I want to do.
That is true. That is something we definitely got on our list. Two of the things for me is I want to actually ride a horse, and we actually know some people here in Atlanta that actually show you how to ride a horse. So that's one of the things. I'm really kind of afraid of those gentle giants, but I know, I want to overcome that fear, ride a horse, and look at Woodrina back there. They better stay close to Woodrina, but to ride a horse too.
Because I don't know, I might let you do that one.
And then for travel, for me, one of the cities that I want to go to is Philly here in America. I want to go to City. I want to go to Philly. And then I do want to go to Africa too.
Yeah.
That and Jerusalem.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that is true. Those are some places.
On our, because basically her bucket list kind of becomes my bucket list.
Because we're gonna go together.
Right.
Exactly.
But before we go into the show, I just want y'all to say, don't y'all like Woodrina glasses and those braids? She got her braids and her new blue glasses. I like those glasses.
I've worn these a few times.
I forgot. Man, I guess I ain't say that.
It's okay.
I like those glasses.
Thank you. So let us get into this discussion on the 3 things that every spouse desires to feel in a relationship. Many times in a relationship, we just expect for things to be fine if everyone in the relationship, if we're working hard, our bills are paid, the kids have everything that they need, to be successful. We'll feel like, okay, it's okay. But all these things are very important and needed to maintain a good balance. However, having an emotional, connection is key to a healthy, long-lasting marriage or any relationship. It's the reason why you'll find people who have financial security, beautiful families, you would just from the outside, it'll just look like they just the perfect happy couple will find themselves in divorce court asking the question, well, what's wrong with our marriage, or when did we fall out of love? So, we're just going to talk about those 3 things, these 3 vital things that every spouse desires to feel in a relationship.
Yeah. And and as we would say, one of the things that we tell everybody, as you're listening to the show and you're getting a chance to know both Adrena and I, you're gonna know at our core we're spiritual people.
Mhm.
We are a couple who, since our day of being married, God plays a important role in our marriage, in our family,
Sure.
in our dreams, and everything that we're doing in our lives. It has a God core to it. And
Mhm.
so, as we encourage all the couples who we work with, and as you all are listening, we're always talking about your vision, your goals, as
Mhm.
we ended the last year. So not only do we coach and counsel couples that we work with, we also pray for them. And so as we were praying last year going into the new year, that's one of the things that God had really spoke to my heart. And what it said to me is really help couples to focus on the future,
Wow.
really look at things and really to keep their focus on things where they're going, what they're looking ahead to. And so, of course, that's the bigger picture and staying focused. But then it's important to stay focused. What's a key? The key is making sure each other feels like a priority.
Right.
And so then when I was thinking about the priority, it's like, what makes you feel like a priority
Mhm.
in the other person's life? And that's feeling, like we're finna talk about now. The first thing is feeling love.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so again, when we're talking about this, and even for the next two podcast that we do for this month, we really are talking about just ways to stay focused on your future in your
Mhm.
relationship. And this is why this is so important, because this is vital to your relationship
Mhm.
to keep you focused. But I just wanted to say the first thing we're going to talk about is love.
Love.
And
Mhm.
what is that? And how is that felt and
Mhm.
how is that expressed?
Right.
And one of the things I always share with couples is this: never evaluate yourself.
Mhm.
So a lot of times in what we're talking about right now, these are three vital things that are important. And the first thing is love.
Right.
But I know you say, oh man, I love my spouse. I
Mhm.
know
Mhm.
my partner knows how much I love them. I know they know. But the thing is, you do not want to evaluate yourself.
Yes.
What you want to do is ask your partner, how do you feel I
Yes.
express love to you? And do
Right.
you feel I do that in a way that is really making you
You
feel
feel
love?
loved. Exactly. I mean, that's key. And like, I think it's very important as well to tell your spouse, how you want them to love you. It's nothing wrong with expressing, this is what would make me feel loved if you would do this. It's different for everybody because, we're all unique. For some people, it's like I want security, I want you, it's like you said, I want to feel prioritized. So, you being intentional about spending time with me. So, it's different for everybody. So it's like, yeah, don't judge yourself and make sure you ask your spouse and
Right.
partner, how is it that how would you like to be loved? What does
Mhm.
love look like to you? What does love mean to you?
Right. And see, that's important because
Mm-hmm.
again, you know, you can think or you could feel that love is a certain thing, but then
Mm-hmm.
what does it look like to your spouse? And as far as being transparent,
Mm-hmm.
we're always talking about ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, like I tell everybody, well, Drina and I have been married for over 30 years
Mm-hmm.
and been together since I was 18 years old. But it never was really in my mind of asking her, how do you want to be loved or do
Right.
you feel loved? Because I was just like, I'm loving you. And in my mind, I'm
I'm
giving
doing,
you this
yeah.
love. I'm doing what a husband should do. I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing these things.
Yeah.
But just because you are doing those things doesn't mean that those things are actually expressing love to your
To that
partner.
part, yes.
And so that's why it's so important. And then from working with, so many couples over the years, you'll find that in one person's mind, what they're literally saying to themselves is, what else do you want? You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this. You do all of those things, but you never have taken the time to ask them, out of all the
Yeah.
things I do, what makes you feel valued.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? What makes
Feel
you feel
love.
loved?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's why this is so important as we're focusing on the future and making each other the priority in a relationship. You want to know, what makes you feel loved.
And that is so important. And then, I know we touched on this before, but
Mhm.
we never went into details. And I know we probably won't go into details today either. But, making sure that you speak your spouse's love language, because yes, you're going to ask them, what does love look like to you? How would you like for me to show you love? But a lot of times when you are aware of their love language, that is a way that they want to be loved, because that's their primary way of giving and receiving love. So that is very key, to know what your spouse's love language is and to actually speak that to them.
Right. And it's also good to make sure you're checking in. Because what I
Mhm.
mean by checking in is, again, this is the first month of this new year. And it's just like how, we're really focused on our fitness and
Mhm.
exercising, so you'll start, but it's also about staying consistent with this.
Yes.
So when we're talking about expression and making sure that the way you are expressing love to your partner, they're receiving it, and they're receiving it as in that way.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times what people will say, I'm like, so just tell me, what are some of the things you do for your wife? Now, for your spouse, your partner, your wife, one of the first things is, boom, I'm always making sure the kids get this. I'm always making sure that the grass or this. I'm always making sure her car or this. All of those things you named are very good. So I show her love by helping out with the kids and making sure the bills are paid and doing this. And those things are really good.
Mhm.
But again, specifically, what are you doing to express love to them
Yes.
specifically?
Yes.
That's what matters.
Because a lot of times for us, it's just like, I just want him to talk to me.
Right.
Just have an intimate conversation with me. Just share your heart with me. Just take some time just for us to just really talk and connect emotionally. And that's key. And so that's very important, to find out, how would you like to be loved?
Right.
What does love look like for
Right.
you? And we want to be intentional in this new
Definitely.
year with making sure that we're checking in with our spouse or partner and asking them, how would you like to be loved?
Right.
How would you like to receive love from me? I want to make sure that you feel love from me. So what is it that you would need for me to do, or desire for me to do?
Right. And please make sure, if you ask your partner, your spouse, this question today, this evening, don't do it with any judgment. Now, what I mean by any judgment is this. You ask them, I listened to Coach Martez and Wadrina today on the podcast, and they would just say, just make sure that your spouse or your partner knows, how love feels to them. So when they respond, about what love means to them, don't be like, yeah, because I always do this. I know I do this, and don't I always do that? No, just let them respond and just soak it in without having to prove to them I am doing it to you.
That is that's funny. That is fun. That's funny.
But naturally, that's what we do.
Because we have to remember not to go into a conversation on the defense.
Right.
So, many times we'll go into a conversation on defense, but you don't want to do that.
Right.
You want to go in with an open, being able to receive and not go, because that is funny.
Yeah. See?
Yeah. So, okay. So we're going to take a quick break. You're listening to the Coach Martez and Wadrina Layton show. When we come back, we'll continue our discussion on the 3 vital things that every spouse desires to feel in a relationship. Stay tuned.
Let's go.
We are back. Welcome back to the Coach Martez and Wadrina Layton show. Today we have been discussing 3 vital things that every spouse desires to feel in a relationship. And before we took a break, we were discussing the first thing that your spouse desires to feel, and that's love, and how we talked about how they would desire to have it expressed to them.
Right. And again, the reason why we're talking about this is because we're just talking about, in this new year, making sure that your partner, your spouse, actually feels like they are a priority. You know what I'm saying? And so in making them the priority, again, you know what? We want them to feel loved. And we want to actually know that they are feeling love, not just from the way that you may want them to feel it, but the way that makes them feel love. You know what I'm saying? Like all of a sudden, if I, you know what I'm saying? I'm just throwing out an example. If I love German chocolate cake, but that's what I love. But then with Drina's like, yeah, but I don't know how to make a German chocolate cake. So I'm gonna make you my favorite, which is homemade pound cake. Well, that's a good deed. That's a good gesture. But my favorite is German chocolate.
Exactly.
So if you really want me to feel loved because it's what I really wanted, then why don't you give me what I want? And a lot of times in relationships, and what I've found over the years working with so many couples is that we're giving the person that we are living with and building with, we're giving them what we want to give them, but we're not giving them what makes them feel loved. And then we'll even be sacrificing. I'm just telling you things that I hear. I sacrifice this, I sacrifice this, I sacrifice that. But all those things that you are sacrificing, if the things that you're sacrificing is not making that person feel loved, then that's why we're talking about this, to make you engage with one another, to ask the question, to make sure I know without a shadow of a doubt, my partner feels love for me.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. That's good. Yeah. And so the second, we're going to move into the second,
Let's do it.
Second key, the second vital thing that every spouse needs to feel.
Which is a big one.
Yes. Every spouse needs to feel valued. Okay, so what is value? To realize that someone has good qualities and that they are important.
Right.
So, you really want to think about that. What are your partner's good qualities?
Yes.
And when was the last time that you pointed them out?
Yeah.
Now
see, this is the big one. See, again, this goes back to when I made the statement during the first segment, and I said, never evaluate yourself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Don't say what I always do or I never do this. Just check with your spouse or your partner and just be like, you know what? Do I often do this? Or, let me get some feedback. See, this is the thing. When was the last time? Because we're talking about feeling valued now.
Right.
And then, so I would just say, just think, while you're driving or while you're sitting and listening, just name the 3 things that are the 3 top qualities that your spouse has. Just think about like that music on Jeopardy. Do, 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 do. Okay, here we go. So what I'm saying is those 3 top qualities that they possess. Now the question is, when was the last time that you let them know about those qualities? See, when was the last time that you said, you know what? This is the reason why I'm so glad I'm married to you. Because bam, bam, bam. That is what brings that feeling of how much you value
them. Yes. So you want to make sure that, not only once you recognize those qualities, that you're actually complimenting them and you're communicating to them, how much I love that about you and how much I appreciate, you for that. And you want to make sure that, that you're doing it consistently.
Right.
That's one thing that we're talking about, going into this new year, making sure that we're doing these things consistently. We want to make sure that our partners know that we love them, but we're loving them the way they desire to be loved, not the way we want to love them. And then we want to make sure that they're feeling valued. And we're going to compliment them. We're going to value their positive qualities without bringing up negative stuff. So, when you compliment, you really don't want to take that, make that a time to really bring out something negative that you've done or a negative quality that you have. You really want to just take that moment to just really focus on the positive and what you really like about your spouse.
And so, and that's a great point. I want to make sure it doesn't happen like this, because we've heard this before. Well, see, I really wanted to do this for you, but then you said that. And once you said that, I just said to myself, I'm not going to even do it. You know what I'm saying? So again, when you compliment or you're bringing out these qualities, just give the other person what they actually deserve, not based off of this or that or that or that. It's just, that's their quality. So I really want you all to think about that. What is my spouse's top 3 qualities and how can I make them feel valued with that? One of the questions that quickly comes to my mind, it's just like, okay, coach, I hear you. I hear what you all are saying, but it's like, that person don't ever say nothing to me. You telling me, coach, to do this, but then what about if they don't, what about if they don't return it? I want to feel valued. I'm the one up here listening to the podcast, but they need to be listening to the podcast. What do I do then if I'm the only person that's trying to show value? So that's I'm just telling you things that I normally hear in my dialogue at work with couples, So that is one of those things. It's like, so what do I do? So I'm gonna just ask you, so what would you tell them, Adriana? That's just a question in my head. I'm not saying that's a question that came up.
You can't control them. So you continue to compliment them. You continue to show them how much they're valued, because eventually they're going to start noticing, especially if it's something that you don't normally do, they're going to start noticing that. And then eventually they're going to actually say, okay. So then you're going to start getting that in return. Eventually you'll start getting that in return. Right. Now, if you got a real hard-headed spouse, then you need to, you might want to say, you know what? A way that I would feel loved is for us to, schedule a session and sit down, and go talk with someone, because, that's a way that I would feel loved now.
And what you're telling me is not because we have a problem. I would just like to talk to someone to help bring out our amazing qualities that we share. Yes. You see how that sounds? You never make it feel like they're in a hot seat, but it's like, you know what? I just really realized I really just want somebody to help to bring out the amazing qualities that we share together. Yes. You know what I'm saying? And
you're not lying, because you do have amazing qualities.
That's why you fell in love with the person.
Exactly. Sometimes you just need help in getting those qualities to shine again.
Yes.
But they were there. They're there. They've been there from the beginning.
And they still are there. And that's why this is so important, as we're talking about the 3 vital things that every spouse wants to feel, because it starts off like that in the relationship, but during time, whether we didn't got busy with the kids, we didn't got busy with our careers, we didn't got busy with school, all of these things, you're making those things priorities. Yes. You know what I'm saying? And this is another question for y'all who don't know. Coach Martez is a random thinker, so things just pop up in my head. This is another question. Yeah. What you want to be able to ask your spouse, not yourself, or if your children are teenagers, or somebody that you have in your life that you really are, you listen to this person, just ask them, could you name the top 3 priorities that you see in my life and what they are to me? And just know I'm gonna listen. You know what I'm saying? And you also want to ask your partner this. You want to ask your spouse this question, because a lot of times we'll think we're making our family the priority. We'll think we're making our partner the priority, but in actuality, they may not feel that way. And I'm telling you, so you really want to know this year, you want to let them be aware of, you know what? I'm committed to making you feel like a priority.
Yes, like a value.
Right. And see, a reason why, again, guys, why this is so big for Adrena and I is because, again, we've been married for over 30 years. But for the first 16 years, I wasn't making Adrena a priority. I wasn't valuing her.
I didn't feel valued.
Exactly. But if you would have asked me in my head, I'd have been like, oh man, my wife know I love her. You know what I'm saying? My wife know what she means to me. But in actuality, she didn't know. And she did not feel valued. She did not feel loved. And so that's the reason why, we want to help, you all that are listening to this to, again, make your partner feel as if they are the priority for this year.
Exactly.
Not just the trip, the vacation, the house, the kids. You know what I'm saying? You got another person that you've been building with, you've been dreaming with. Make them feel a priority, and that happens by them knowing how much you value them.
And another way that you will know how much you're valuing your spouse is ask yourself this question: how important is my spouse's ideas or words of correction or input in my life?
That's a big one.
That's a big one. Because if you're valuing, your spouse's ideas, and, when they come and they want to offer you some words of correction, or even if they have some input that they want to give you regarding your career or anything, how much do you value that? Their words, that really shows how much you're valuing them and how valued they're going to feel in the relationship too.
And then if you really just ask yourself a deeper question, when you ask yourself how important is your partner's ideas, words, or corrections or input that they give, then you can also just say, well, who would I really want to hear it from? Because that becomes the person who's on your priority list too. who else do I really want to hear this from? Who else do I need to hear it from? That helps you to understand how you kind of value certain things. I'm just telling you, it's just something to think about.
Because if you have two other people in front of your spouse's name, as far as who you would want to hear it from, that's really that's a problem.
Right.
It's like that. I would really want to find out what is it, about your spouse. You all. We're talking about building an emotional bond here. We want to connect, emotionally, and we want to make sure that we're doing this in this new year. And these are three vital things that we need. We need to make sure our spouse is feeling loved, and we need to make sure they're feeling valued. So if their words are not important to you, then of course they're not feeling valued, and we need to find out what's going on.
And we know that's a deeper conversation, and we're gonna come back here. But again, you know what? We definitely want, and we're gonna come back here from the break right here. We got a few more things we want to pull out here, but we just want to make sure, boom, they feel loved, they feel valued.
All right, so then we'll hold that, on that note, and we'll be back. We're going to take a quick break, but you've been listening to the Coach Martez and Wadrina Layton show. And when we come back, we'll continue this discussion on the three vital things that every spouse desires to feel in a relationship.
Let's go.
Welcome back. We are back on the Coach Martez and Wadrina Layton show. We have been discussing the three vital things that every spouse desires to feel in a relationship. But before we continue, I want to make sure that everyone knows how to connect with us. If you want to connect or work with Martez and I, you can visit our website at dreambuilderscoaching.net. And on Facebook, we're Dream Builders Marriage Coaching and Counseling. Instagram at Coach Martez, at Wadrina, and Twitter at Coach Martez at Wadrina L. And that's Wadrina Layton on Instagram. Okay, so let us get back into the discussion. Before we took a break, we were talking about
feeling valued.
And as far as we went over, as far as your partner's ideas and words of correction and input in your life, that's a way for them to feel valued, when you let them know that their words and input is important to you.
Right. And then we talk, and then another thing you want to make sure to help a spouse feel valued is don't belittle them. You know what I'm saying? So, don't look down to them, because a lot of times that's how people feel. Like you're looking down. I know for us, again, years in our marriage, Wadrina will feel like you're talking down to me. You know what I'm saying? You're making the decisions, but you're really not taking my input. You're really not listening to me. And when I have something, it's like you just kick it to the side. You know what I'm saying? So we want to make sure the person that we're building with, the person that we're living with, and doing these and doing life with, we don't belittle them. Just know that's not acceptable. It's not okay to shrug them off. I used to do this a lot. So I'm gonna just tell you, Wadrina would feel like you're just shrugging me off. And honestly, being my partner and being the person who, is right here with me in the trenches, you should never feel like I'm shrugging you off.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So you want to make sure that
we're partners, we're a team.
So you don't belittle and don't allow yourself to be belittled, because it's not okay.
It's not okay.
It's not
and
okay.
Then another way you want to make sure that your spouse is feeling valued is you want to listen by paying attention to them. When communicating, you want to be paying attention. A lot of times, you're not really paying attention. You're listening, but you're not really paying attention. You want to pay attention. You want to be in the conversation. So by paying attention, that means I can, actually communicate back to you. It's not just like, It's like, no, I'm letting you know that I'm listening to you, because I'm actually communicating with you in the conversation. It's just not you just talking.
Right. And, one of the things I normally ask, ask a person, I just say, what, it's amazing to me how, if your boss or your supervisor called you into the office, when you walk in there, it's like, well, I'm listening to what they're saying. And then you say, but because what they're saying affects my pay. What they're saying affects how I, the money that I make. You know what I'm saying? So you look at them as that, but then the person who is married to you, the person who's building and living with you, this is a question I normally ask everybody. I want you to think about this. And I don't know if this is going to be your partner or not, or your spouse, but I'm going to just ask you this question. If you was in a car accident today, God forbid that happens. And in that car accident, you actually end up being where you were going to have to be in a wheelchair for a couple of months, while you was going through recovery and these type of things. The question I would want to ask you is whose hands on the back of your wheelchair taking you to those appointments? Whose hands are on the back of that wheelchair doing the things that you need to do to make sure you're well?
Right.
Okay. Now, for a lot of us, that person is your spouse. And there's no reason why the person who will sacrifice their life to make sure you are good should ever feel devalued.
That's true.
They have to feel like they are the most important person in your life. And this is what I had to understand about Wadrina, because that has been Wadrina for me. You know what I'm saying? She's that person whose hands will be on the back of that wheelchair. And I had to really understand this is why I have to value her. I have to love her, because she will put her life on pause for me. And through our marriage, she's had to do that, when I went down physically. So that's a question I just want you to think about. But that person whose hands is on the back of that wheelchair, that's the person who definitely has to feel like a priority and definitely feel the value that they bring to your life.
Exactly. And then one last question you would want to ask yourself, when thinking about, the value that your spouse brings to your life is, what difference does your spouse add to your life? That's a question to really ask yourself, because that will help you in, understanding your spouse's value and helping them to feel value in the relationship.
Yeah. So again, like we said, feeling loved, feeling valued. And the last one we want to talk about is feeling appreciated.
Yeah.
Showing appreciation.
Yeah. So we want to make sure that, we're letting our spouses know that we're grateful for them, being grateful for what they're doing, their worth that they bring to the relationship, how important they are to us. We want to make sure that we're doing this. So it's like, when was the last time that you actually held your partner's hand, looked into their eyes, and told them how much you appreciated them?
Yeah.
Just think about that. When was the last time you did that? And I will hope it was recent, but if it wasn't, hey, now you have,
it's a new year, new start,
right.
new action.
Exactly. So now you can go home and do it today.
Yeah, this is a great day.
This is a great day. And you want to make sure that you're consistent in this new year.
Right.
If it's something that you haven't been doing, that you start doing it consistently. And when I say that, I will say you want to at least do it. I actually say, depending on their love language, it might need to be every day, but you
they may not be a worse person.
Yeah, they may not be a worse person, but you want to at least do it, like once a week. Just let your spouse know, how much you just appreciate them. And, it's like, yep, I really just thank you and just appreciate you for this. And I'm so glad you're in my life.
Right. And then when, again, what does appreciation mean? Appreciation means an ability to understand the worth, quality, or importance of something, of someone. You know what I'm saying? To understand that worth, to understand that quality, and to understand the importance, because we look over this. You know what I'm saying? I sometimes, I love it when I hear one of the men, in the relationship really just say, about their wife, oh, I understand how much value she is. I understand, because when you understand it, you see the person differently.
That's true.
There's a different level of respect and reverence that you have, because it's like, I understand how much I need you. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what we talk about. So not only now that you understand it, I want to appreciate you. It's like what they oftentimes say, you don't want to give the person their flowers or their roses when they go.
Right.
You want to give it to them. I really want us to start giving to each other, a minimum once a month, just knowing this is something that I'm doing that my spouse absolutely would know how much I love, value, and appreciate them. At least once a month, this is one thing that I'm making a commitment to do. That's what I'm challenging my couples that I work with, or that we work with, to just understand, just once a month, I really want you to just do something for them that makes them feel loved, valued, and appreciated.
And that's good. That can be a challenge for
Yeah,
everybody
that's for
listening
everybody.
too. Just,
Yeah,
in this new year, we want to be different.
right.
We talked about, our relationship goals, earlier, a couple of weeks
Hmm.
ago,
Hmm.
so we want to just make sure in our marriage and relationship goals that that's one of them.
Yeah,
I'm going to do
yeah.
something every month
Mhm.
to make my spouse feel loved, valued, and appreciated.
Right. And then just think about this, because a lot of times, like I tell people, when we get married, we they sometimes say leave the job at the job and leave home. But like I tell people, but some of the principles of business are the same principles for your home.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So when you think about this, normally when you go into a company, what do you see? Employee of the month.
Mhm.
You know what I'm
Yeah, we
saying?
do.
Um, employee of the month. And so what they do, you sometimes you'll see so and so, you'll see the pictures of all the employees of the month. So what does that tell you? Every 30 days, they are recognizing
Yes,
somebody
somebody is being
and they're
acknowledged.
making somebody
Yes.
feel appreciated
Yep.
for the hard work you're doing.
Appreciated. Right.
That's a good principle. So
Yes.
what I'm asking is once a month for
Mhm.
your spouse. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? Do something for them that makes them feel appreciated, loved, and valued for who they are.
Yeah.
And then what I wanted to say earlier, I'm not sure if I said it, the law of reciprocity will eventually kick in.
Exactly. Yeah.
Eventually the law of reciprocity will
Mhm.
kick in. In other words, what that's saying is by you being the
Mhm.
example of showing them value and they're actually seeing it and you're letting them know how important it is
Yes.
to me to show you value,
Mhm.
that law of reciprocity
Mhm.
starts kicking in and they realize, you know what? I have an amazing wife.
Mhm.
I have an amazing husband.
Mhm.
I need to do some of the things
Yes.
that they do for
For
me.
me.
I need to do it for them. You know what
Exactly.
I'm saying? That just goes back to that question about, well, what if I'm the one coach
Right.
that's doing
Right.
it, but then they don't want to give it
Yeah,
back to
that's
me?
why I say
Oh, the law
eventually
of
they
principle,
gonna change.
it's coming.
Yeah, you'll see a difference. You just keep doing it.
Hmm.
Eventually, you will see a difference. That is so true. And so we want to make sure too, and as far as with this appreciation, when you see your spouse do something that you really appreciate, instead, make sure you say something.
Right,
See, a lot of
exactly.
times we'll see our spouse doing things and we'll say to ourselves, oh, okay, that was nice of them.
Right.
Verbalize it.
Yes.
Be intentional about verbalizing that to them when you
Yes.
see it instead of just saying it in your head. Say it out loud. You know what? I really appreciate that. I saw that. Oh, okay, you put the load of clothes in. Oh, thank
Right.
you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's the small things because they
Mhm.
go a long way.
Yeah. And again, when I go to talk about business, if you was at your company and you saw
Mhm.
somebody taking those small things, you're like, wow, that was very thoughtful
Thoughtful
of
of you.
them.
Yep.
That was cool. So you were saying at work, but then when you come home, it's like, no, nah, they don't need to hear it. They know what they're supposed to do. That's what they supposed to do anyway. Ain't nobody gotta be telling them this. They ain't gotta be pointing it out. Yes, you do need to point that out. What you mean you don't need to point that out?
Right.
You point it out at work, and then guess where else it gets pointed out of? At school with your kids. What does
Mhm.
a sticker mean to your child with a happy face? Or, man, we
Yeah.
all older, but you know
Yeah.
what that sticker meant to you. You wanted that sticker.
Yeah.
And it was a
Exactly.
simple sticker, but that sticker made
Because you
you
did a
feel
great.
like
Yeah. You
I
reward.
did
Yeah,
something.
because you rewarded that for doing
Yeah.
a great job.
Right. See, with
So
Drina, she was a teacher before she became a
right,
therapist.
right. So that's what you got for doing a great job for the whole week. So my kids got the pick from the treasure box at the end of
Right.
the week too. So
Right.
with our spouses, it's like, yeah, when they do things, we want to show them how much we appreciate
Yes.
them. And we want to actually communicate and verbalize that to them.
Yeah.
So, we're going to take a quick break. This is the Coach Martez and Wadrina Layton show. When we return, we'll continue this discussion. We'll wrap up, our 3 things that every spouse desires to feel in a relationship.
Let's go.
Welcome back. We are back on the Coach Martez and Wadrina Layton
Thank you
show.
for joining us.
Yes, yes, yes. Today we've been discussing the 3 vital things that every spouse desires to
Yes.
feel in a relationship.
Yeah.
And those 3 vital things are love, value, and appreciation. We all want to feel loved, valued, and appreciated.
Yes. And we want to feel it without feeling like, man, that's asking them a lot, coach. These things that we're talking about, No, it's not asking a person a lot to just make you feel loved, you feeling valued, and you feeling appreciated. I just want to tell, somebody, when you hear this, that's not that those things don't cost. That's just your actions, that's your attitude, that's just how you see me. So don't don't look at like, man, that's really asking them to do a lot. Yeah, but they love you.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
if they love you,
They're gonna,
you're not
yeah.
asking them to do a lot by just saying, hey, babe, I love you.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's
Yeah.
not asking. And the reason why I say it's not asking a lot, because if they work and if they're a manager and they got people who work for them, guess what they do? They're doing things for their team.
Yeah.
They're doing things for their employees. They're doing things for them.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, the same things that you would do for them, then guess what? Let's do it for the person who you love, who's building with you. So I just want to say to someone that's listening, don't accept that. No, that's asking them a lot to really make me feel loved. No, you deserve that.
Yeah.
All of us deserve. So that's why we're saying desire. Everybody desires to feel loved, valued, and appreciated. And don't lower that bar. We're not lowering bars in 2022. No, we're raising the bar.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm letting you know, I was a man who did not know how to love, value, and appreciate my wife. And it wasn't fair for her to be in a relationship and giving her life to a person who really wasn't respecting and valuing and loving and appreciating that. And we all can change. I'm gonna just, they can't change. I hear that from so many people, so many spouses that will say, I just didn't see them changing. And that's why I'm telling you, the good is in a person. It just may take somebody else to bring that out. And that's why when we talk about the effectiveness of professional coaching and counseling, it makes the world of a difference.
Yeah.
Because what you think is impossible with the right person, the right scenarios, and the right coaching and counseling, it's almost like the rock just is broken, and it's like, bam, who is this person?
Yeah.
So I just want y'all to know that. Yeah.
That's right, because we're in here for the long haul.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like we talk about, these are the keys to really building that emotional connection with your spouse that's going to help you to remain married for life. That's our motto, married for life, Walt. Never let go of the hand that you're holding. You want to make sure, in order to never let go of that hand that you're holding, you have to do the things to help to build that emotional connection, to help you to stay connected for life. And that's, so that's not a lot to ask.
That's not.
And then it's like, it's reciprocated. I mean, I'm showing you how much I love, value, and appreciate you, and you're doing the same for me.
Yeah.
And like we said, eventually you keep doing it. If your spouse is someone who's like, I don't see it, keep doing it. Eventually they're going to see the changes. And if they don't, then it's like, yep, we just really need to sit down and, get a tune up in our relationship. And let's just talk with someone.
Exactly. Exactly. And so again, when you think about this, I know this is a quote by Dr. Maya Angelou. And that was so good to hear too, because she's actually going to be on that. I know that coin, because if you don't know, if you haven't seen it, but Dr. Maya Angelou is actually going to be on a coin. It's going to be like a silver dollar or a gold dollar coin.
Okay.
It's not a quarter. It's going to be like a dollar. But the fact that she's going to be on that, man, that's historic. That's just, but when we talk about this quote, because we know we're going to get some of them coins. But anyway, one of her quotes says, love recognizes no barriers. It jumps hurdles, leaps fences, penetrates walls to arrive at its destination full of hope. That's what love is. So then what you want to ask yourself is, does my spouse feel like I would go over barriers, I would jump over hurdles, I would leap fences, and I will penetrate through walls to let them know how much love I have for them?
Yeah, that's good.
You know what I'm saying? That's real.
Yeah.
And I know I didn't used to, Rodrina would have been like, shoot, he ain't gonna jump the fence for me. He gonna jump it for his mama. He gonna jump any hurdle for his grandmama. Then he'll be like, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
I mean, now in my mind, I was thinking, yeah, I jumped that fence. But this was in my mind. In Rodrina's mind, she was like, no, because he be making this for his mama. He do this for his mama. And it's like, so I'm just saying again, but this is what love jumps hurdles, leaps fences, penetrates through walls. That's what your spouse should feel you would do for them.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's a tough question, because I know you said, would they say this? Like, if I was to ask Martez back then, it would have been a tough question, a tough conversation, because your spouse may feel like they're doing that. But like we said, never evaluate yourself.
Exactly.
You may even feel like you're doing that, but never evaluate yourself. Always ask your spouse, especially when it comes to loving them.
Yes.
And because you want to validate their feelings and how they feel. And so I need to hear from you. Do you feel loved, valued, and appreciated from me?
Exactly.
And what are some things that I can do to help you to feel loved, valued, and appreciated?
Yeah. And then, so here's a quote from Margaret Cousins. It says, appreciation can make a day, even change a life. Your willingness to put it in words is all that is necessary. And that goes back to like what you said earlier, acknowledging them for what they do.
Yeah, basically, just saying that. Yeah, we got to be willing to put it in words, like it's like the quote says, when it's necessary. And actually it's, we always need to put it in. That's necessary. Our willingness to put it in words, to communicate that to them, to let them know, no, I love you, I appreciate you.
And I'm gonna make y'all laugh, because see, my wife and my kids actually say I'm like the guy on the Progressive commercial when they be at the grocery stores and stuff.
Yes.
But that's just Coach. So, because they would laugh, because they fall out laughing, because literally I'm the person that'd be like, you know what, this person is really doing good in this section over here. I just want to let y'all know.
Yes.
Look, I do that.
There's the manager. So-and-so is doing
look,
good.
You know what I'm saying? I do reviews. So they all laugh at me because I'm the guy on the Progressive commercial. Talking about don't be like your parents. That's what my kids say. Because daddy would be the main person. Because I just want to acknowledge them for what they're doing. I want to show appreciation with everything that's going on in COVID and all these things. You are here and you are doing this, man. I just want to tell you, man, you're doing a great job. I want to let somebody else know. I'm telling you. So I am the guy on the Progressive commercial. I'm gonna just tell you.
And so we just want to encourage you all in your relationships, to just we just challenge you to make those commitments to love, appreciate, and value your spouse or partners in this new year. And, make a commitment to show them that, on a weekly or a monthly basis, you just really want to do that.
Yes.
And so we want to just make sure that we remind everybody about our 5th annual Married for Life walk coming up here in Atlanta, Georgia, on April 22nd and 23rd.
Yes.
Married, the number 4 lifewalk.com to find out more information. We'll have more stuff coming out the end of this week. The end of this month, more details coming.
More marketing.
Yes. Yeah. And so also, we just want to remind you that if you wanted to connect with us or work with us, our website is dreambuilderscoaching.net. On Facebook, we're Dream Builders Marriage Coaching and Counseling. Twitter is at Coach Martez at Wadrina L. Instagram at Coach Martez at Wadrina Layton. So, and I also want to remind you all, I just got to make sure I always give our ending, our quote. Healthy marriages do not happen by chance, they happen by choice. So you have to be honest with yourself and be willing to be held accountable to the things that your partner may say to you without giving them back any judgment or pushback. We want to make a commitment to accept change without conflict.
Yep. And so I just want to give a shout out to Ronnie and Shamari DeVoe, our Married for Life walk partners, vision partners with us, to our board, and to all those working to really help us to make this to be a successful event. Again, we want to thank you for tuning into the Coach Martez and Wadrina Layton show. We had a wonderful time discussing with you. Please join us every Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Central, 12 p.m. Pacific. We love to hear from you. Be sure to connect with us on social media. Look forward to reading your comments. Have a wonderful week, and we will see you back here next week, same time.
All right.
Let's go.
Thank you for tuning in to the Coach Martez and Wadrina Show on Transformation Talk Radio with certified professional life and marriage coach Martez Layton and licensed therapist Wadrina Layton. Understanding love, accepting truth, and changing perspective. Coach Martez and Wadrina Layton have been working with outbound couples to strengthen their relationships for the betterment of their lives for 20 years, and it is in their divine role in life to do so. For more information or to schedule an appointment with Coach Martez and Widrina, go to dreambuilderscoaching.net. That is dreambuilderscoaching.net.